Hey guys, Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book Networking Like a Pro and creator of the popular program How to Get a Steady Stream of Higher-Paying Coaching Clients Without Being Pushy. And today I want to tackle a situation that I know I personally struggled with. It might be something that you are as well. I know that there are a lot of coaches out there who feel like they're doing good work. They are doing and coaching and working with people. They're not getting as many paying clients as they'd like. They've maybe taken some courses. It hasn't worked out, which is unfortunate. I've been there myself. And what they're doing is they're like, well, what is it that I can do? Like, where can I, look to try without spending $2,000, pounds, shekels, whatever. What can I do to kind of move myself forward in order to get to this next level? And I think the answer actually is a lot in what we're going to talk about here today, because when I first got started, and even a few years afterwards, I was having a devil of a time actually getting people who could afford my rates. I would go out and I would network. People would find out that I was a coach. They would want to meet. We would talk. They would be taking notes, doing all that stuff, and nodding and taking more notes, nodding. And I'm thinking to myself, this is awesome because we're going to, get a client. Then the money part came up and they're like, you're great, but I can't afford you, And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, oh my God, what do I need to be able to do in order to actually get people who could afford my rates? Because I will tell you this, it got so bad that I had less than $20 in my checking account on 4 different occasions. All right, $20 less than on 4 different occasions. It was really, really bad. And that's why I have really made it really almost like a mission to work with people to help them get a steady stream of higher paying coaching clients without being pushy. A lot of times I run into people who are really good at what they're good at. They've got a world-class training and a strong commitment, but they don't have the processes or tools for being able to attract higher paying coaching clients and people who can actually afford their rates. So what I do is I put together a step-by-step game plan that helps people stop talking to tire kickers and start getting a steady stream of higher paying coaching clients without being pushy, salesy, or otherwise over the top. Now, today, like I said, what we're going to talk about is something that I definitely struggled with, and it was really, what is it that I need to do? What's my next step? Like, I don't want to spend another $2,000. What can I do to move myself forward? And here's the question that I would ask of you. I certainly asked of myself. Very, very easy. It says, what am I willing to do and stop doing in order to move myself forward? You might have heard me touch on this before, podcasts or whatever. What am I willing to do and stop doing in order to move myself forward? Now, this can be a little bit tricky for people because we're so used to, myself included, thinking in terms of what we need to do, right? And that's a good one. For me, I started there. I was like, well, geez, what do I need to do? And at the time when I was asking myself this question, I was like, all right, well, first of all, I need to start getting up a little earlier in the morning. I don't have to go crazy, but I do need to get up a little earlier in the morning. Secondly, that means I need to go to bed a little bit earlier at night. Okay, because I didn't want to be working on 6-7 hours of sleep. I like my full 8. So I'm like, get up in the morning a little earlier, go to bed a little earlier as well. Craig Goldblatt talks about a guy actually who is a professional speaker out in the UK. I've interviewed him for my podcast before. He says, listen, one of the things I was willing to do was make 70 to 80 calls. I think he said on a daily basis, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't a week. No, I think he was saying 50, 60, 70 calls a day when he was getting his speaking career going. You have to be willing to be able to do that. All right, now, a lot of people are like, okay, well, maybe I need to be willing to make some better goals, or maybe I need to be willing to create a vision board, or maybe I need to be willing to do this or do that. But for a lot of people who were in that situation, myself included, it wasn't a conversation about what we were willing to do. It was the second part. What were we willing to forego? What were we willing to stop? Well, the first thing I had to do was I had to be willing to forego pride and ego. Now, I don't think of myself as this overly prideful, egotistical person. I don't think so. I think other people would say that I'm not as well. But I had to resist that, okay? And I had to say, listen, I'm going to be coachable. I'm going to find and seek out wise counsel. I'm going to listen to what they say. I'll push back if I feel like it doesn't work for me or I need to, do some other things. But I had a gentleman who every idea I gave him, all he did was tell me why it wouldn't work for him. All right. It's one way to do it. Not very successful, makes it hard, and guess what? He never did find something that worked for him. So I had to make sure that I didn't get into that boat, all right? I also had to give up. I give up playing golf. You know, I played a little bit, but not nearly as much as I wanted to. I gave up playing, this is going to sound funny, fantasy football. Fantasy basketball, I love doing that, you know? And it took up a lot of time. And what I had to do, what I had to realize, what I came to the, again, realization was I'm not going to be able to do those things. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do and what I was willing to not do in order to move myself forward. So if you find yourself feeling a little stuck, if you find yourself feeling like maybe you've plateaued, I was talking with a young lady the other night, and she's like, I feel like I've done all this stuff, but I might be missing something, so let me take a look at some other things. Take a look at what it is that you do, what you're willing to do, and what it is you're willing to stop doing to move yourself forward. And on that stop doing part, that doesn't mean that you gotta, you know, like for me, I cannot never get back into fantasy basketball or football or never play golf again. I can. Actually, I am now. I haven't gotten back into the football for a different reason. Basketball, I'm thinking about doing it next year, to be perfectly honest with you. But the point is that you can do these things. It doesn't have to be something that is a forever conversation. All right. So listen, if you'd like, swing on by our Facebook group. It is a free group. You can go to facebook.com, obviously, and you're going to go to groups. Just put in how to get higher paying coaching clients. You will see a nifty little group there with yours truly. And what you do is you just apply real quick, put your name in the hat. We will verify you real quick and get you in there. We've got all kinds of good stuff, a bunch of free videos and some audios and some podcasts and things like that to help you get moving. But in the meantime, my name is Brian Hilliard, saying so long, take care, and thanks so much for your time.